At some point in your life, while lying in your bed or sitting somewhere, your mind wanders to ideas you've been sitting on. Starting a business or a project, the thing you keep telling yourself you're going to start. You imagine yourself in it, you see it working, you see yourself finally making it happen. Then you think about all the people you've watched try something similar, watch them burn out or give up. A quiet confidence settles in. Those people, they just didn't want it enough. They didn't plan like I'm planning, or they didn't have my discipline, and you told yourself I'm different. Or maybe it's a relationship. You think of someone. You picture the future together, something solid, something that lasts. But deep down, you know. You've seen it before, friends, family, or people you never thought would split, fall apart. And in that state, you tell yourself, we are different. What we have is real. The things that broke them won't break us. And why is it this way? Why do we watch the same story play out for others over and over and still confidently believe our own story will be the exception? This is a built-in illusion. Psychologists call the optimism bias. Optimism bias is the psychological phenomenon where people believe they are less likely to experience negative events, like illness, accidents, or failure, and more likely to experience positive events, like success, wealth, or happiness, compared to others. This occurs because the regions of the brain responsible for simulating the future, particularly the rostral anterior cingulate cortex and the amygdala, generate far more vivid neural signals when we imagine favorable events than when we imagine unfavorable ones. This asymmetry in how we mentally rehearse the future creates a persistent gap between perception and reality. We don't just hope for good things, we genuinely expect them, even when the evidence suggests otherwise. In 2007, Tali Sharot of University College London and her colleagues used functional magnetic resonance imaging to uncover the neural basis of this bias. They found that when people imagine positive future events, amygdala and the rostral anterior cingulate cortex became highly active, and in contrast, when imagining negative events, these same regions remained quiet. They found that healthy individuals update their beliefs in an optimistically biased way. They take good news on board while filtering out bad news. Their study also showed that optimistic update bias actually increases with age. Healthy older adults were even more likely than younger adults to take in good news while filtering out bad news. They noted that while this enhanced optimism may contribute to the greater well-being and life satisfaction often reported in older adults, it could also skew important real-world decisions related to health, finances, and personal matters. Philosophers have been debating with this cognitive bias over time. Some argued positively, others negatively. The philosopher and psychologist William James wrestled with this question more than a century ago in his 1896 essay, The Will to Believe. He wrote, "There are then cases where a fact cannot come at all unless a preliminary faith exists in its coming, and where faith in a fact can help create the fact." James is arguing that waiting for proof before you believe is a luxury you can't afford. Because in certain domains of life, love, ambition, or personal transformation, the belief that something is possible is often what makes it possible. If you wait for absolute certainty before you start the business, you'll never start. If you wait for a guarantee before you commit to someone, you'll never commit. On the other hand, the Scottish philosopher David Hume offered a very different view. In his 1748 work, An Enquiry Concerning Human Understanding, he laid down that custom, then, is the great guide of human life, but belief beyond experience is never rational. The mind has no just foundation for supposing that the future will resemble the past in any particular. A wise man proportions his belief to the evidence. For Hume, belief should never outrun what the evidence can support. He recognized that we humans have a natural tendency to expect patterns to continue, to assume that because things have gone a certain way in the past, they will go that way again. But he argued there's no rational justification for that assumption. So which is it? Do we follow James and lean into faith that helps create reality? Or do we follow Hume and demand that belief never outrun evidence? Maybe the answer lies somewhere in between. Stoics had something useful to say about it. The Roman Stoic Seneca, writing in his letters to Lucilius, offered a powerful practice. What is quite unlooked for is more crushing in its effect, and unexpectedness adds to the weight of a disaster. The fact that it was unforeseen has never failed to intensify a person's grief. For this reason, nothing ought to be unexpected by us. His solution was premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils, not to dwell in pessimism, not to kill hope, but to sit with the possibility of failure, loss, or disappointment before it arrives. To imagine the business failing, to imagine the relationship ending, not because you want it to happen, but so that if it does, it doesn't shatter you. Hope you learned something, and if so, remember to give this channel a thumbs up and subscribe.